And for those that ultimately achieve financial success, financial freedom, financial independence, a life where they no longer wake up worrying about paying the bills or how they'll be able to afford to retire or take those vacations that have been on the vision board for a while, it was simply getting back on the horse, getting up, shaking off the fallout, doing a quick assessment, and making one small change to the system. You're listening to Your Money, Your Business, the podcast with me, Debbie Colbourn. I'm a small business expert and a former professional accountant turned money mindset guide. And I am obsessed with helping you achieve all those things you've dreamed of and thought were out of your reach, with helping you figure this money stuff out. My goal on this podcast is to help you break the cycle of feast or famine with your cash flow and to help you grow your wealth and sustain it over the long term. We dive deep, we get real, and we get raw, discovering and exploring what is really possible for you and letting go of all those things that are holding you back. If you've ever thought it's not enough looking at your bank balance or think, I'll never get that paid off, when you open up the credit card statement, maybe you're sick and tired of constantly being worried, of just getting by, and you know you're missing out on key opportunities again and again, or maybe you're done with the constant arguments over money, then this is absolutely the right place. We'll bring you a whole new way to look at money, profit, cash, wealth, tackle the challenges, share the ideas, the tips and the tactics and the strategies, and get you connected to the right resources. Think of this as your weekly prescription of money mastery development and leave the hard work up to me. No matter what's going on in your life right now, I've got your back. Ready? Buckle up, take a deep breath, and join me in a conversation about breaking through to the next level. Welcome to episode 129. This week we published an article on LinkedIn on the topic of accountability, and it seemed to make sense to dive a bit deeper into how accountability, or the lack thereof, can literally kill your hopes of ever being financially independent or having financial freedom or achieving those big goals. And you can grab the link to that article in the show notes. Maybe you've done a Google search in the past like one of these. How can I manage my money better? Why is it so hard for me to manage my money? Best personal finance books. How to save money. Best ways to cut expenses. How to create a budget. Each person that searches for solutions to their problems in relation to money and finance on Google, they are dipping their toe into the world of accountability, taking ownership for what happens with their finances. And that is friggin' awesome. Yet accountability is not a surface level concept. It's what you've committed to, and it's the quality and quantity you have committed to delivering, and it's the time frame that you committed to doing it. So it's simply doing the thing you said you'd do the way you said you'd do it at the time you said you'd do it. And when it comes to money, as the old saying goes, it's easier said than done. Why is that, do you think? I'm sure we all have our own ideas about that. And yes, most of us have great intentions, but yet another old saying goes, the road to, let's just call that one financial instability, is paved with good intentions. With so many demands on our money, our finances, both internal and external, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if you don't have a way, a system to stay on top of where your money is going, at the end of the month, the end of the year, it's all gone. You've heard people say over and over and over, I don't know where it went. Where does all my money go? Money needs to move. It needs to be spent and to be saved and to be invested, to transfer from entity to entity, person to person, business to business. Those demands to cover the essentials, to indulge yourself in the wants, and to create a safety cushion for emergencies and for the future. Yet, all along the sidelines, like those people you see in the TV lining rally car circuits, on the edges of every path, are people and businesses and whole industries that are screaming and trying to get your money with zero, absolutely no concern about you, your family, your future dreams, your businesses, your desires, your potential. It's all about them. Now, just for a moment, I want you just to sit back and think about who was really in the driver's seat of the car called money the past 3 months in your life. The bank that's charging you monthly service fees to access your money? The Netflix or Prime membership that you really don't use, or the gym membership, or the grocery delivery membership? The gas companies that, if you're in Ontario, Canada, are price gouging and change the price of the same gas 3 to 5 times a day. I'm not kidding. When I moved to Calgary, to Alberta, I was shocked that that wasn't the norm, but it's not. They are penalizing people who have to buy gas earlier on in the morning over the people later on in the day, on certain days. Or the grocery stores like Loblaws or Kroger's or Safeway or all the big chains. In Canada, there's 5 main players and they control 90+% of the grocery delivery system that penalize single or smaller families by placing a premium price on a product if you only want to buy one of them. Imagine that. The solutions to our problems, to our economy, are right in front of us. But it is the lobby. It's not always that way. But that's where we want to start. We want to start giving the ownership back to the individual person. And that starts with accountability. Or maybe none of that resonates with you. Maybe that private school you really thought was better for your kids has no flexibility in payments because its payment system is built for a different income model than yours. So each payment that you have to make in the greatest of intentions, with the dreams and desires and well-being of your children forefront, creates tension in your finances every month. Or maybe that 1 or 1.5% fee that you've been paying to your financial advisor has been nagging at you. Because as you've learned more about compound interest and compounding in general, you are starting to see how much that really is costing you over the long term. Financial accountability means that you are on the hook for your future results. That doesn't mean you aren't consulting and bringing on people who know more than you. It simply means that all paths lead back to you. Every decision and every choice. You have your hands firmly on the steering wheel of your car called money, finance, or whatever we want to call this thing. Your credit card, 1, maybe 2, no more. The only person who is accountable for the increase or the decrease in your credit score should be you. So you get to choose if there's an annual fee or not. How much is it? The things that are important attached to the cards. And unless you're a big traveler or a high income earner, points should not be in the mix right now. When are payments made and how much they are? All on you. Your bank accounts, the type, the cost, and the interest rates and access, they're all on you. You see what I'm saying? It may be easy just to give up your hands and say, well, I got to get that, I got to do this. They say, the institutions who have structured the industry to their benefit, exactly the same as the way the casinos do. Except with the casinos, when you walk in that door, you know that it is statistically and technologically set up with a bias for the casino. That sounds crazy overwhelming, doesn't it? And just imagine. Well, you really don't need to imagine since it is real life. That life is overlaid on top of that. The emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, the impulses, the willpower or lack of willpower, your comfort zones, your risk tolerance, all of that lays on top of every single decision and action related to finance, to your wealth, today's and the futures. Everybody's. And all of those things are different for everyone. So how the heck is it even possible to develop a bulletproof cape of self-accountability to your money? In our LinkedIn article, we share the difference between external accountability, being accountable to someone else, versus self-accountability, being accountable to yourself. And money and finances is, in my humble opinion, 99% self-accountability. The payment dates on your loans or mortgages, while they may have been generated by the lender, the agreement and the choice to take on those and abide by the terms of the agreement are all on you. Now here's the rub. Self-accountability when it comes to money, finances, cash flow, and profit means that you are accountable to a financial result. And as a byproduct, you are also accountable to all of the people whom you've promised an outcome, an experience, an adventure, your time, even a thing that will be facilitated by that financial result. Yet that thing has no voice. It can't text you or message you. It can't call you or FaceTime you to hold you to your word. The only ways it can communicate with you is through a negative experience or through the people who got shortchanged. And wouldn't you rather they were happy and not always expecting to be disappointed? The thing we need to overcome is the simple fact that money is incredibly emotional, good, bad, neutral. And it swings and changes as fast as it does for food. Budgets don't work long-term for the same reason that diets don't work long-term. Because our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings can derail us. The solution is a system, not just a system, but an automated system. That's not something you haven't heard before, is it? But where is your system? If you had one and you let it fall by the wayside, do you know what happened to cause it to break? Do you know that for most people, the systems do break? The systems need more personal tweaking for the individual lifestyle or core values or personal type. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that or with you when it breaks. And for those that ultimately achieve financial success, financial freedom, financial independence, a life where they no longer wake up worrying about paying the bills or how they'll be able to afford to retire or take those vacations that have been on the vision board for a while, it was simply getting back on the horse, getting up, shaking off the fallout, doing a quick assessment, and making one small change to the system and starting again. They created their wealth. Sometimes that involved joining an accountability group. Yes, that's external accountability. And there are times we all need that. Or it was finding an accountability partner that could believe in the future results you are aimed at and support and encourage and call you out to get there. Yes, also external accountability. But most of all, it was a process of first following your money, the past choices, aligning the dreams and desires for a life of richness with specific individual financial targets, and reverse engineering both the saving and investing paths and the earning and spending paths. I'd like to help you find your paths and create your system without recreating the whole damn wheel or car. You game? Well, we're going to do it right now with you right here on this call. So step one is a decision. What is your answer? You get to choose between two things. Which is a bigger issue for you? Debt or saving? Now, Okay, you're like, okay, wow, I can do this. I know that one for sure. But here's the thing. If you don't know where your money is going today for real, not just I think, it is absolutely impossible to answer that question. So we're going to, together, figure out where your money went over the past 3 months. No matter what your family income is, which, by the way, most people don't even know that number. Whether it's in the 120 to 200,000 dollar range, or in the 75 to 110K range, or over 200K range, not knowing where your money is going is the equivalent to not putting on your oxygen mask when they drop from the airplane ceiling. And who does that? Well, with money, a lot of us do. So I'm going to assume that everyone is using online banking. And if you're not, then I highly encourage you do. In your app, there's a function called something like transactions. You may need to do this on your laptop or a computer. Sometimes the mobile app versions don't give you exactly what you need, but they should. I use Tangerine Bank in Canada because they offer checking accounts with no service fees. For real, no service fees. And if you want to check them out, pop over to the show notes. There's a link in there with a link to Tangerine Bank and to show you what's possible there. And there will be either or both a list of all transactions or a chart of some sort that shows different categories of transactions. This is on your app, like home, loans, insurance, groceries, entertainment, etc. And most of them have tons of choice. This is what you would be the equivalent to the point of sale. So when you make a purchase, your app will assign it to a category. It's an AI kind of thing. It thinks it knows where they should go, but the onus is on you to make sure that they're actually there. Now, how you categorize each one is up to you, and we'll do a video on that a little bit later on. I'll show you how I do it and go through this process. But for now, what we're just looking for is we're looking for the totals in each main category. And if you can find it in the chart form, Tangerine gives me a pie chart, which is amazing. So I literally just need to look for the biggest pies. We are looking for the 3 biggest categories. In my case, and this is not uncommon. This is pretty, it's a fairly common pattern. In my case, it's cars and transportation, a category called loans, taxes, and fines. I don't have any fines, but that just happens to be the category thing. And food and dining. And those 3 categories make up over 60% of my outflow of money that came into the 2 bank accounts, my 2 checking accounts, excluding my rent, which is in a whole different online bank, out of sight on autopilot. I don't have to worry about that, and I will talk about that also in a later video. It's a super setup, and I love it. At the end of every month, and if you're a visual person, this is going to be a bit of a challenge for you because I'm a visual person. I'm like, okay, so I got to be writing this down. So you might have to go back and listen to this and just sort of make some pictures for yourself. But again, I'm going to try and put this on video for you. At the end of every month, I do a quick review to make sure that every item is in the right category. These are the smaller categories, the individual categories. So for example, if for some reason I inadvertently pay for a business expense out of my personal checking account, I do have some legacy ones that still do that. They might categorize it as shopping and services when in fact it's home office. That's where I put it. So what are your top 3? Are they paying debt or putting money into savings and investments? This is the answer to our first question. And if you don't do this exercise, I can tell you, you're going to be shocked when you do. When I look at mine, I am absolutely unhappy with the Cars and Transportation number around $900 a month, which includes, and this is pure transparency, one of the things that I am going to be doing as much as possible is be very, very transparent about my real numbers, because it is hard to improve your financial situation without talking about the actual numbers. So my $900 a month includes about $515 for a car loan payment, $214 for car insurance. Now, that's the big chunk of it. Last year, when I came east for 9 months, so if you follow my story, in October of 2022, I got a call from my son. He said, "What would it take for you to come back to help me out, drive the boys back and forth to school?" And I told him. And so I came back for 9 months to assume my grandma, I call it Grandma Uber, driving my two grandsons to and from school, which was about an 80-mile round trip. And there were days where I did that twice a day. That category was about $1,250 a month, and I was okay with it. Sounds like a lot, right? But on average, most people with a car payment, their costs are $1,000 or more a month for a car. That's an awful lot of Uber trips for that amount, plus maybe a car rental. So I'll be talking about that one a little bit later as well. And so I was okay with that number because of the reason and the distance. And that loan payment and car insurance worked out to be about 41 cents a kilometer. So that's about 25 cents a mile. And I also got my rent at no cost. So that's a total win-win. So effectively, you could look at that $1,250 as being my rent. But now I only drive about 1,000 kilometers a month at the most. Barely that. And that 41 cents a kilometer is now 3 times that, because I'm driving very, very little right now. And that actually was the intention when I bought the car, that it would last for a very long time. And then last year just kind of killed my mileage. It's changes like this. If we don't stay focused on our goals and where our money is going and adjust the systems when there are substantial circumstantial changes, that result can mean us being miles and miles off target. I am accountable to my goals, to my results, and to my vision. And that includes changing this scenario with cars and transportation so that my money is working better for me and not for the Scotiabank, AMA Insurance, or the Subaru dealer, or the aftermarket parts industry. As humans, it's kind of our human nature to either use all of our resources, spend it, or keep it, hoard it, or obsessively save. And it's on us to make sure that our resources are going to the places that are best for us and for our family's future. So what if the situation was flipped? That $900-ish amount was going to a savings account with a 2% interest rate, or was sitting in a checking account with a large balance, let's say more than 3 times your monthly expenses, and not earning any interest. We could just leave it, couldn't you? But how would that fly with the concept of self-accountability? Is it really building a stronger relationship with your goals and your targets? Or have you just benched it? Maybe you've gone a step further and handed it over to a financial advisor. If the markets crash and you lose 50%, who do you blame? Or should you be blaming at all? Same with your insurance policies. Self-accountability means that you are the one obliged to see all the steps through to the results. Interestingly enough, understanding accountability is actually a whole lot easier when you look at what the opposite of being accountable is. The thesaurus lists these words as antonyms: irresponsible, untrustworthy, unreliable. Aren't those words that you may have heard tossed around about you by friends and family, maybe behind your back and heard through gossip, in relation to things you said you'd do and didn't do, about how you spend your money, about how you don't have any? Imagine your partner, your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, business partner, best friend, use those exact words to describe how you handle or manage your money. He's so irresponsible with his money. We can't trust her with the money or the credit cards. I can never count on them to have the money when they should have it. Money, accountability, systems, automation. This is how you create a life of richness. Your life of richness, doing and having the things you love. So here's the task for this week. If debt is your biggest issue, then go into your bank account and set up an automatic monthly payment of $20 for the day after you normally get paid. Select the who you're going to pay the debt by choosing either the one with the highest interest rate. Oh, you don't know the rates? Or the smallest debt amount. And when I say the smallest debt amount, what I mean is the total amount that you owe. And if you don't know that, then you need to find that out first. Again, I will also do a video on that to show you how to figure those things out, how to track them without getting stuck in stupid spreadsheets and stuff. It might seem like the most ridiculous thing to do if those numbers have 5 or 6 digits to the left of the decimal point. But I can assure you that this has so much more to do with accountability and commitment than it does with reducing the debt. If savings is your biggest issue, then what I want you to do is I want you to find a 1-year GIC, preferably not at the same bank as your day-to-day bank. And again, I can do EQ Bank here in Canada, $500 I can buy a 1-year GIC. That's it. And what I want you to do is do that and put $500 to $1,000 in it. Again, this might seem ridiculous, but this step ticks 2 boxes: diversity and independence. I could have asked you to go to your financial advisor or ask your friends or family who they use. My goal is to help you understand that you are in the driver's seat of the car called money and finance. And if you don't understand the basics, someone else will always be trying to hijack your car or steal it. I hope this episode has given you something to consider. I consider myself to be really, really privileged to have the education and the experience from my career as a professional accountant. But more than anything, my life experiences, that decade of poverty, the rock bottoms that I've experienced over and over again, and all of those things, even having had those horrible moments, my big bad decision, all of those have led me to want to help others who are scared of money. I never realized how scared I really was of having money. To help them discover how much the things they heard and lived through as they were growing up have impacted their financial well-being today, good and bad. And my goal is to turn the tables on generational money blueprints and help people create incredible lives for their own families, present and future, with a robust and resilient financial foundation. All right, that's it. And I hope you found these insights super valuable and actionable. And here's to hoping that you put just one of them to work in your own money-proof life. Remember, there's always going to be new apps and people dangling the fast fixes to financial freedom, and the banking and finance industries are always evolving, so stay aware of the trends and the tactics, but also lean hard into those tried and true foundations that we've been talking about and that we will continue to talk about. And don't let fear stop you from testing it for yourself. I think testing is really the secret sauce to having fun with sometimes boring concepts. And voila, presto, you've got results and data to inform your strategy and the path to your goals going forward. And lastly, before you log off, here's your practice homework for today. Subscribe to Your Money, Your Business podcast, wherever you're listening. Before you jump onto your next commitment, please take a second to subscribe. This is where we're dropping the latest tips on the tactics and inspiration, and I'm sharing exactly what works and what doesn't. And I honestly don't want you to miss a show. So take a quick second, subscribe to the show, and if you have a moment to rate and leave a review, it would mean everything to me to hear from you. I genuinely love reading every single one of them and learning more about you, what you do, where you're tuning in from. It's the start of a you and me in conversation. So please feel free to chime in anytime. Know that it's me, Debbie, who is reading every comment and review and replying to you. Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Money, Your Business podcast. And until next time, remember, every moment matters. I'm over here celebrating because you just finished another episode of Your Money, Your Business podcast. If you want more, head over to the website yourmoneypodcast.libsyn.com for all the show notes and all the links to each of the resources from today's episode. And if you're looking to step up your game, get new ideas and perspective, and ask live questions, be sure to get my exclusive 100 plus hidden self-sabotages workbook. The link is waiting for you at yourmoneypodcast.libsyn.com.